The Lamborghini is running, it's finished here. I am at Mantorp Park and not driving on the track today, unfortunately. I have some footage when I put this car together for this time. It's some new things, some new details, some work I did. So I will show some footage from that into this video. And then I'm gonna show you more about driving events later on. I just removed the gearbox here, and the job itself is not actually that complicated. You don't need any special tools or stuff like that to remove the gearbox, but it's a lot of things to remove before you get into the gearbox there. I'm a little bit curious to open it up and see how it looks like inside. I think working with gearboxes is very interesting, complicated things. So I will take it apart and see if it is all okay or if I need to replace any things. I want to take the engine apart and check the condition of everything. I'm a little bit nervous because the parts in the engine, it's not any bolt-on parts. Like the rods, they are custom length by my specifications. Same with the pistons, it's some different dimensions compared to the stock ones. And the steel sleeves in the cylinders, the installation of everything is first timers in these kind of engines. The bearing clearances is not the Lamborghini specifications. The knowledge I have got from building other engines is what I have used to put this engine together. But it's a lot of work to take the engine apart. So I will check the oil filter here again and see if there is any metallic particles there, some bearing materials, and if it is good, I will put the gearbox and everything back in again, and I will drive this summer. So let me show you how to check the oil filter. Okay, I'm gonna take this filter apart, and with that I'm gonna use this tool with a cutter here. Let's see what's inside, if I should rebuild the engine or drive this summer as it is. I think it's almost open. There it's open. Then the valve here for the... Now when I have the element out, I will cut this open. Okay, how is this baby looks like? Pretty good, I would say. I have to look a little bit more careful, maybe with a magnifier, but first glance, no bearing materials, what I can see. Okay, the gearbox here is disassembled here to check the condition of it. These are actually the drop gears. With changing these ones, I can change the gear ratio of the car. So eventually I want to drive really fast with this one, and then I have to replace these ones. I don't think really there is someone that sells them, so yeah, maybe if possible to get someone to manufacture new ones of these. Interesting to see how the gearbox looks. This is the input shaft. This is also for the front wheel drive that connects here though. And here is the aft part of the gearbox, and inside here it's actually a pump. It's a Gerutor oil pump. I think this one could be a weak link in the end. This cast aluminum mid plate, it should be possible to replace this one to a billet. I'm still waiting for bolts for the crown wheel of the gearbox. Ordered them from Lamborghini over a month ago and still not here, so yeah, that's a little bit annoying. And meanwhile I'm waiting, I will modify the fuel systems here a little bit, the fuel pressure regulators. I'm gonna remove the intake and some of the parts here. I must show you here the new fuel pressure regulator that I'm putting in instead of the stock two ones that are in there. This one is well done, and I think it's one of the best regulators you can find. I also had one here in the Supra. It's here, been there for many years, and no problem at all with that one. And one thing I like about this Weldon is because they make aircraft parts, and I like aircrafts. Then it's usually good quality stuff, and this one also have serial numbers. It's not many car components that have serial numbers. In aircrafts, all components, they have serial numbers. If you replace them, you always have to keep track on serial number and documentation on the part for that one. Then you can trace it down to the person that made it. You can maybe trace it down to the material used to make this one. Not very useful actually in a car, but I think that is cool and something we work a lot on when I work with airplanes. And speaking of airplanes, these HydraFlow fittings, quick disconnect fittings that is on here, they could possibly have been on an aircraft flying high up in the sky. Maybe. Hoses here, they are press hoses that I did press here. Very lightweight hoses and strong. So this one will go inside here on the side. I've made the bracket, of course. This bracket is in 2024 aluminum. It's airplane aluminum, and the bolts, if you're working with airplanes, you're very familiar with this one. It's 12-point bolts, and you can see there it's drilled in the middle with this high quality parts. It does not make much difference to this part, but I think this is fun to make everything a little better than standard. The fuel rails, you can see them here. I will take them out again. The injectors is not in. Welded on AN fitting on that one. I installed the gearbox, but when I was going to install the drive shafts here, they did not fit. These ones was bigger than the flanges here on the spare gearbox I have. And this one I can take out with 4 bolts, take out, and hopefully the one from my original gearbox will fit. This one I just removed from my original gearbox, and this one has clips inside here, so I need to remove the cover and take that one out from there. And I just filled it with fresh oil, this one, so 1 step forward, 2 steps back, but soon it will go in again. Hopefully there is not much more difference between the gearboxes. I think this is an older one, not the 2008 that I have here. Just tiny bit bigger, larger. But the inside here is also a little bit more material removed than in this one, so I think the CV joints there are bigger in this one, so that's a good thing actually. Hopefully they will take a little bit more power. Yeah, one more thing here with the conversion. I had my oil filter relocation here with a bracket right here because it was a good location, I thought. Now the thing was, this location with the bolts, there's where the shifter cables goes in there, so I have to do a new relocation for my filter here. Here is the water pump usually, so if I can make a combination bracket here, or if I put the oil filter a little bit down there maybe. As you might know, I have removed the oil level stick on the oil tank that is over there. I used an oil level sensor here instead, and this one I ordered custom length. I took measurements of the tank and I installed the sensor, and then I was going to install the pickup in the oil tank, and yeah, they collided. So I did actually grind a little bit on the sensor and hoping it was all good, but I had a little problem with the reading of the sensor here, so I am replacing this one now. I put in a shorter one. This is custom order for you specify which length and actually what mounting you want for it. The first one I was a little bit stupid, only ordered 1 bolt flange. This is a 2 bolt flange, so I had to weld on a little bit of material there, and now it's by 2 bolts there, so it will not leak anything there. So hopefully this oil level sensor will work a little bit better this time, so I can have a good indication of the oil level, hopefully on the dash there. So always small improvements, even though this is rather expensive, because these custom sensors are, yeah, not really cheap. But even though it's an Echo, this is a Reventech, a very nice brand, but this is their economical parts there. Yeah, by the way, you have maybe seen Lamborghinis on fire and other sports cars that is on fire. And yeah, that's because there's so much stuff packed into a very tight area, I think, here. So it will be very hot, and this car even hotter with the turbos here. And also I have done a lot of special with the hoses here, with the fuel, everything. So I'm a little bit scared that this car will catch on fire. So I bought a fire suppression system here. This one, it's an aluminum container, pretty lightweight. It's 3M Novec. It's on gas. Now it's liquid inside, but it will come out as gas. So this should be really good to take out fires. This is actually for the cabin and the engine bay, but I will use everything for the engine bay because I think that's the most important. These are the nozzles. Looks very nice ones. And this is electronic actuated. So it has a battery pack here. It's not connected to the electrical system of the car. And some nice lightweight aluminum tubing here. I will install it back where the e-gear system was. So there I have a little bit space for this one. So a little bit of insurance if there will be a fire of the car. I don't want my baby to burn down. I've been doing so much special with this car, so it will not be easy to replicate this one. I'm gonna do some brackets for it. Here we have some clamps, and also this is the button that you have on the outside on a race car. I will not use that one. I will only have one on the inside, I think. And this is the switch for the inside. This is made of plastic. Looks a little bit cheap. So I will actually take this button. And this one is a real Formula 1 button. Fire one. This is in aluminum. And yeah, I think this one is a little bit better, even though it's no problem with the other one. But the biggest reason is that it is cool to have a real Formula 1 parts, more Formula 1 parts in my car there. This harness, I have showed it in an earlier video with my Formula 1 parts. I actually have 2 of these harnesses. This is on the side in a Formula 1 car, in the cockpit on the left hand side. Here you have the switches to switch on the car. P0, P1, P2 to turn the car on. And of course you have this fire here. Actually in the Formula 1 cars they have an extinguisher similar to this one, but it's made in carbon fiber, I think, and it's mounted under the driver, under the legs of the driver usually. So this is inside of this. I think I'm gonna remove some other parts from this harness and dismantle it and use for other things. Some nice parts. Nice wires, connectors, very expensive, made by Renwale, cockpit loom. It's nice to see the Lamborghini out of its normal place here. Just started it up and had some small water leak here. Turbo system is in there, still the bumper waits to come on. And the thing with these old water hoses is they become very hard and old, so they can start leaking. Put on some XRP hose here, made a little adapter here. This was some other fitting, normal fitting, and that's the nice thing with having, even if the old lathe there are not a very good one, but it works very good to just manually do things. So that machine over there is worth gold for that. So it will be under here, and it's near the exhaust and everything, so that's why it become bad, that one. And here you can also see the fire extinguisher bottle inside here. In the engine compartment, it's almost finished. Everything is where it should be now, almost. So I'm gonna go out and do a little test drive. I have done a little bit testing, and it's a couple of things I'm not really happy about, and yeah, we'll see. And in the interior here you can see it's not finished, no seat, the wiring, still some modifications. Let's see if this start. By the way, the engine management I have here, the Motec system. Sorry for the wiring, by the way, it's a little bit temporary. This one will do a nicer one. It's a work in progress prototype here. I don't tune cars very often, and this is the only car with this Motec M1, very advanced ECU, and it's a little bit sometimes too much parameters. Sometimes when I'm working with other systems, I miss some of the parameters that is possible to adjust in the Motec, but sometimes there is a little bit too much parameters to adjust, so it's easy to do a little fault and makes the engine not work as it should. The full throttle things, that's the easy part. The other things is like the idle and drivability on all other occasions. So nice with the stick here now. Oh, there we can see the start. I got a little adjustments. See the RPM there. I have a little bit idle adjustments to do there, but yeah. By the way, now I need to go and get some fuel because it is very low, so head out to the gas station. And one thing I notice when I've not been driving this car for a long time, it's the brakes. They really, in slow speeds, they really bite. It's hard sometimes to drive it. They grip very much, and actually this is the last year model with this 380 millimeters brakes in the rear. It's used on this 2008 model, and I think maybe it's the only one. The newer ones, Lamborghinis, all have smaller brakes in the back, so this maybe have a little bit too big brakes, but yeah, for high-speed driving you don't feel it, or normal driving, but very slow driving, it's just a little touch on the pedal. It's hard to just brake a little bit, and if you're a new driver or not been driving for a long time, then it can be a little bit difficult. Yeah, and so nice to be driving this car with this stick. Let's head for the gas station. It feels so strange to not pull the down gear lever when you're driving into places like this. For now, it's gasoline in the car. I will use the E85 later on, and yeah, nice to have the car on the road again, even though it's a little bit dusty. Need a wash from maybe 9 months in the garage. I had some problems here with the throttle bodies maybe not working as I want her, so I did a new calibration here, had the throttle bodies out here, and do it manually, close it and open it manually by hand, and then put in the values here in the Motec. So we'll see if this helps. Now we should test and see how good they are working in tracking. And for people that say that electronic throttle bodies are not fast enough. They're not slower than the cable throttles. Typical nice Swedish weather, thunderstorms. I have a list of things that's not working good or as good as I want, but it's nice to have the car working. My problem is many times that I want to have everything 100% correct, but sometimes 95% is good enough. Then you can be out to drive the car on the street instead of having it as a project into the garage all the time. So nice to have some test drive, take it in to the garage and see what I can do. I also got my carbon fiber back from my friend Dennis that applied some new clear coat. So the scratches are gone, as I showed you before, and also here on the door panel, the scratch that was on it before, it's gone. Very shiny and nice, this carbon fiber again. So now this passenger side is actually more shiny than the driver's side there. Let's install the interior again, and tomorrow I will take it for a drive out to Mantorp Park here in Sweden. It's time for gatubil, but I will not drive this car on the track. It's not ready for it yet, but it could be nice to have the car there at least